Hi, welcome to Deep Recaps. Today's film is the South Korean mystery thriller, The Gangster, The Cop, The Devil. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. This movie is based on a true story. The city is Cheonan, and the year is 2005. A car is rear-ended. The dude who got hit comes out and starts taking photos of the license plates for insurance. So, the aggressor stabs him in the back. He then takes him into his own car and stabs him multiple times. Then, the killer simply drives off. As far as serial killers go, this guy could work on his subtlety. The next day, Jung Tae-suk, a hard-headed cop, arrives at the crime scene. He looks at the dead man, searching for clues. Looking around, he discovers that the car was struck in the back. Meanwhile, Jang Dong-soo, a powerful crime boss with a gambling empire, is in a meeting with another crime boss. They get into an argument about their turfs, so their assistants start fighting. The other crime boss humiliates Dong-soo's assistant, so Dong-soo grabs the other gang's assistant, takes out his teeth, and makes the other boss drink it. Damn, South Korean Godfather hits different. At the police station, Tae-suk shows his boss evidence that this recent killing could be related to other previous killings, making this the work of a serial killer. However, his boss dismisses him, saying that Tae-suk is just jumping to nonsensical conclusions. Later, Dong-soo decides to drive back alone in order to clear his mind. On the way, his car is struck in the back, so he gets out, ready to crack some skulls. Dong-soo looks at the minor damage and forgives the hitter, sending him away. But the man stabs him from behind. However, Dong-soo is no ordinary man. Korean Godfather fights back valiantly, beating the crap out of the killer and also stabbing him. So, the killer escapes back to his car, hits Dong-soo, and escapes. Dong-soo is quickly taken to the hospital, while his men, led by his right-hand man, attack the rival gang in retaliation, thinking that they were responsible for the attack. Elsewhere, the actual killer stitches himself up with a stapler and fixes his wounds. Then, he abandons his car, goes to a man, and kills him for his clothes. Dong-soo wakes up the next day and says that the killer felt different and that he probably wasn't sent by a rival gang. He gives the details of the killer's car to his men, whom he commands to find it. Just then, Tae-suk also arrives to take Dong-soo's statement of the incident. However, Dong-soo does not trust the police and does not file a case. So, Tae-suk goes to Dong-soo's building and finds his car. There, he sees that the car had a rear-end collision as well, just like with the earlier case. Elsewhere, Dong-soo brings in a sketch artist and composes the killer's sketch. He commands his men to find the man before the police do. Meanwhile, the killer claims his next victim and takes his truck. He then throws his knife away. Sometime later, Tae-suk cracks down on Dong-soo's illegal gambling den. That awards him a direct meeting with Korean Godfather. Tae-suk tells him that the attacker is a serial killer, but Dong-soo is skeptical of this, even though he recently came to that same conclusion himself. The attack on Dong-soo causes his reputation to go down, so his rivals are openly moving into his turf. Dong-soo's only consolation is that his men found the killer's abandoned car and his knife. He also hears about some killings in that area. Realizing that Tae-suk could be right about the attacker being a serial killer, he invites the cop to his home. He waxes poetic and says that a gangster's reputation is everything to him. Hence, he needs to find the attacker in order to send a message to the other gangs. So, he offers a partnership with Tae-suk. They agree to share their resources with each other. Whoever catches the killer first will get to do with him as he pleases. Tae-suk plans to bring him to justice, while Dong-soo just wants to kill his ass. The moment they make this deal, Dong-soo shows Tae-suk that he was being recorded for future leverage. Dong-soo gives the killer's sketch to Tae-suk, who shows it to his two trusted friends. He makes them promise not to tell anyone of their deal with the gangsters. They gain access to Dong-soo's warehouse, where the gang is keeping the killer's car. There, they comb the place for traces of the killer's DNA. Meanwhile, Dong-soo sends his men to kill the rival boss, because he's been taking advantage of Dong-soo's weakened reputation. His hitman uses the serial killer's knife to kill him. Tae-suk goes to meet up with his colleague and forensics expert, Seo Jin. He asks her to look into the DNA that they found in the killer's car. Seo Jin confirms that the DNA he gave her matches the one from the recent murders. On top of that, the same DNA was found in the knife in the recent murder of the crime boss. So, these murders will now be classified as serial killings, and the entire police department will be involved. Tae-suk is angry about this, so he goes to pick a fight with Dong-soo, but Dong-soo beats him back easily and admits that he killed the rival boss, but now the blame is on the serial killer. Much to Tae-suk's irritation, these new developments catch the attention of the media. The serial killer sees everything on the news, and he is angry that the police blame him for the murder of the crime boss. So, he goes to the crime boss's funeral, along with all the other gangs. Even Dong-soo is there. There, the killer writes a letter to the assistant, saying that the boss was killed with his knife, but by someone else. The assistant correctly suspects Dong-soo. Later that night, the killer goes out and uses the same tactics to kill another man. The next day, before the new detectives can take a look, Tae-suk and Dong-soo quickly comb the car for clues. Just as Tae-suk finds a thumbprint on the wheel's cover, the rival gang's men attack them. Despite being outnumbered, Tae-suk and Dong-soo fight back valiantly. I would ask where Dong-soo's gangsters are, but Korean Godfather needs no backup. The next day, Tae-suk's boss forcefully puts him on a kidnapping case. Despite his protests, Tae-suk unwillingly looks over the victim's wife as she drops off the ransom money. There, he notices another man sneaking around. They chase after the man all over town, but the mysterious man escapes them. Later, Seo Jin gives Tae-suk the report from the steering wheel cover. The fingerprints belong to a person who's reportedly been missing for a while. Tae-suk goes to the suspect's home, which is filled with green tanks. He finds other weird miscellaneous items, like a journal with strange markings and medicinal bottles. He also finds the man's photo, the same one from the sketch, the killer. So he quickly asks the office to find everything they can on the man. Elsewhere, Dong-soo is having a meeting with some business partners. When one of them starts to tease him right to his face, Dong-soo laughs at first, and then he slaps him. Once, then twice, again and again, until he collapses from the impacts. It's like the Three Stooges on steroids. Just then, Tae-suk sends the kidnapper's voice message to him. Dong-soo listens to it and confirms that it's the serial killer. The serial killer's name is Kang Gyung-ho. They do a profile check on him and find out that Kang was abused by his father when he was young. Just then, one of the gangsters and one of Tae-suk's men get into a fight. Tae-suk stops the fight, after which he beats his own colleague for starting it. Dong-soo is impressed by this display of integrity. Dong-soo gives Gyung-ho's picture to each one of his gang members, and they all disperse into the city to find him. They look all over town, but are unsuccessful. One day, Dong-soo is waiting for the bus. Since it's raining, he offers a schoolgirl his umbrella. So, Korean Godfather does have a heart. When her bus comes, she thanks him and gets on. Unknown to him, Gyung-ho is right there, in the next seat. Later that evening, the gangsters and detectives are sitting together, having dinner, when the news comes on of yet another murder. They see the umbrella that Dong-soo gave away, and realize that the victim is the girl from earlier. They quickly get up and look around every motel and restaurant along the girl's bus route. They finally find the motel, where the owner confirms that Gyung-ho is staying there. However, he's not in at the moment, so they wait for him. Gyung-ho arrives late at night, while everyone tensely waits. However, his serial killer senses tingle, and he quickly drives away. The cops and the gangsters chase after him immediately. After a long and hard chase, the three cars crash into each other. Gyung-ho quickly gets out and runs away, so they chase after him. They go down separate ways while looking for him. Gyung-ho takes advantage of this and ambushes Dong-soo's assistant, whom he stabs multiple times. Dong-soo comes to him, and before dying, he tells him which way the man went. Dong-soo follows the directions and finds a trail of blood that leads into a karaoke bar. In one of the rooms, he notices two girls crying as they're singing, so he goes in. Gyung-ho is in the bathroom waiting for him, but Korean Godfather just crashes the door straight into him, and then he punches him through the door. After that, he drags him back like a sack of potatoes. Tae-suk calls him, but Dong-soo ignores him, so Tae-suk realizes that he has taken Gyung-ho. Dong-soo ties up Gyung-ho in his hideout, where he beats him up. However, Gyung-ho just laughs back, like he's the Joker. So, Dong-soo takes a machete and prepares to chop him into pieces. But Tae-suk crashes into the place and knocks out Dong-soo. He's still a cop, so he formally arrests the devil, Kyung-ho, leaving the gangster lying on the floor. Tae-suk reaches the police station where everyone is shocked to finally come face to face with the serial killer. The next day, this news shocks the nation. On top of that, the police are now starting a crackdown on Dong-su's gambling operation. Back at the police station, the cops question Kyung-ho one by one. Kyung-ho is calm, and the cops are furious because they don't really have any concrete proof except for circumstantial evidence. He also used chemicals to remove his fingerprints, so they can't link the knife to him. Kyung-ho is conscious of all of these things and makes the same statement to the court. Even the judge is hesitant about convicting him. The victims' families can only wait nervously, waiting for justice. So, the prosecutor calls in a witness, the sole survivor of Kyung-ho's attacks, Dong-su. We go back to last night when the cop went to the gangster to ask for his help. Since they both want to kill Kyung-ho, Tae-suk suggests that they use the law to kill him. When Dong-su gets angry and beats him up, Tae-suk plays a recording from when he confessed to killing the rival gang leader. Now, Dong-su has no choice but to give himself up to the law and become a witness. Dong-su gives his honest statement that Kyung-ho is the one who stabbed him. The defendant attorney tries to counter him, claiming that Dong-su is also a criminal who can't be trusted. So, Dong-su calmly tells him that he wouldn't be speaking like this if Kyung-ho had killed his family. Kyung-ho is a killer who killed people for fun and does not deserve the protection of the law. All the while, Kyung-ho is laughing in his face. Dong-su then shows the court further proof, his stab wounds. Then he claims that he stabbed Kyung-ho, which the court finds to be true. He then shows the letter that Kyung-ho wrote to the assistant, which they use to confirm his handwriting. From the letter, they keep the part where he says the boss was killed by my knife, but they remove the second part, which says by someone else. With these as proof, Kyung-ho is given the death sentence. Dong-su is arrested, but because of everything he's done just now, his sentence is lightened, and Tae-suk is promoted. Dong-su goes to prison, where all of his men have already arrived. There, he sees Kyung-ho before he is executed. Dong-su laughs. Back in the past, Dong-su agreed to Tae-suk's idea on one condition, that he and Kyung-ho be put in the same prison. Later, Dong-su takes some rope and goes to Kyung-ho as he's bathing, but it's not for sexy time. He says that the game that they started should be finished, and he laughs. And then, the movie fades out, showing the gangster, the cop, and the devil one last time. If you're getting tired of the formulaic redundancy of Hollywood cinema, I implore you to broaden your horizons. Check out some international art. Check out South Korea. Subscribe for more content like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to support the channel. See you next time.